This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello and welcome. It's Thursday, October 28th, and this is Orlando Sentinel Now. Today, we're talking about the end of a state of emergency here in Orange County. We've got a Florida Fresh Air feature for you and what's going on in high school football. I'm your host, Joe Mario Pedersen, and joining me today, I have Orange County government reporter Ryan Gillespie. I have Things to Do reporter Patrick Connolly and high school sports reporter JC Carnahan. Thank you all so much for being here today. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Ryan, coming to you first here. Yesterday, Wednesday morning, Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings announced during a press conference the end of a state of emergency for the county regarding COVID-19. What did the mayor have to say as far as why we were putting that to an end?
He had a lot to say, but really the reasoning behind this is just the numbers have gotten to a point where it's kind of untenable to keep a state of emergency going.
Due to the low positivity rate, I am pleased to announce that I am allowing the executive order to expire this afternoon at 3:04 p.m. so that we will no longer be under a state of local emergency.
When he put this in place at the end of July 28th is when he put us back under a state of emergency. Cases from this Delta variant were skyrocketing. They peaked fairly soon thereafter, up to our positivity rate was something like 22%. We had record high hospitalizations. Hospitals had deferred basically non-emergency procedures. They had record numbers of hospitalizations. It was just a bad situation. But at this point, our positivity rate's down to like 3.5%, which over a 2-week period, which is, pretty remarkable compared to where we were. Case numbers are lower. They're not over several thousand a day like they were. And the death rate has really plummeted, luckily. When we look back at this surge of cases that we had over the last 3 months or so, we had, probably the legacy of this thing is going to be, it was our two deadliest months of the pandemic in August and September. In August, 410 people died. In September, 293. That's just county residents. The previous high was 229 in January. So it's far and away the two deadliest months. More than 800 people died in the county over this 3-month period. If there's any solace of good news out of this is, we're talking hundreds of people dying a month so far in October, which is almost over 27. So it just kind of goes to show where we are now compared to where we were as recently as 2 months ago.
That's wonderful news, especially hearing as we're getting toward the end of the year that we are moving in a positive direction. But Ryan, I'm wondering if the mayor indicated as to why we were seeing progress.
So there's kind of a number of factors there. For one, our vaccination rate is up to 75%. So 3 out of 4 people who are eligible to be vaccinated have at least one shot. So that's helping slow the spread, no doubt. The other thing is for the people who are unvaccinated, whether they haven't gotten it yet, aren't eligible, or aren't going to get it, many of them got the virus. The Delta variant infected a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people in every pocket of Orange County. So the people who survived that, they have natural immunity now, but we don't know how long that lasts. So that's kind of the important part about getting vaccinated. The thought is that vaccines provide a longer lasting immunity than getting the virus, surviving it, and having antibodies from that. And the other thing with vaccines is we have boosters. Once your vaccine immunity begins to wane, you can get a booster shot and theoretically bolster your immunity for even longer. So that's a big part of it. He credits people wearing masks once things got bad again for slowing the spread of the virus as well. So there's kind of a number of things that are attributed to that, but and that leaves us where we are today with fairly manageable numbers.
A lot more details on that, including vaccination sites and testing site information that you can find at orlandosentinel.com. But before we move on, Ryan, I do want to ask you about another announcement that we're expecting from the mayor later today. What would that be?
It's kind of been long expected. The mayor, he's filed for reelection. He was first elected In 2018, he won something like 62% of the vote against two other opponents. He's always said he intended to run for re-election. I know there were some who were pushing him to run for other offices, some even as high as governor. But Demings has always said that he planned to run again in Orange County. It's the county's most powerful office. It oversees a several $billion budget. It does things like craft policies against pandemics and affordable housing and funding for law enforcement and really any of the problems that you may have in this region. More than likely, the Orange County mayor has a pretty big say in solving those issues. It'll be a busy campaign season for the Demings family. As we know, his wife, Val Demings, currently a member of Congress in the House, is taking on Marco Rubio for the Senate. And Jerry Demings also has said that he wants to put a penny sales tax on the ballot if he can in 2022 to raise money for transportation and try to improve our region's transportation network. So it'll be a busy campaign season here in Orange County, and the Demings family will be at the heart of a lot of it.
Be on the lookout for that information at orlandosentinel.com. Ryan, thanks a lot. Patrick, I want to come over to you now for a Florida Fresh Air feature. This week, we're talking about Horseshoe Park and Ferry Trail. Where are we going?
So this is in Cassadaga, which is sort of a spiritualist camp. There they have, mediums and spiritual healers that will meet with people and, kind of read their aura and talk to them about, maybe connect them with a deceased ancestor or something. So I went to Cassadaga about 2 years ago to do a little travel feature. I just spent 24 hours there and tried to see what it was all about. And something that I remember from my visit there was the Ferry Trail. It's this little park. It's owned by the Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp. And along the way, there's just little fairy houses and little, beads that people put in trees. There's gnomes. There's just little, trinkets, maybe a little bit of magic along the way. Especially, I think this will captivate the attention of younger visitors who may crane their necks to see, are there really fairies along this trail? So I went back up the other day to check it out again and just see. It's a very peaceful, sort of serene space. Like I said, there's a little bit of that magic there. The trails are very short, but I will say also in the area, there's another park, Colby Alderman Park. It kind of pays tribute to some of the founders of Cassadaga or some of the earlier families who lived there. That park contains more trails, some lakefront views of Lake Colby, some more hiking if people are specifically making the trip up there. And of course, if you're already in Cassadaga, you can go schedule an appointment with a medium. You could get some spiritual guidance while you're there as well. Maybe go buy some crystals. There's other shops not affiliated with the camp that'll do like tarot cards and stuff like that. So I thought this one would be kind of fitting, especially as Halloween approaches. And I think around this time, the community tends to get more attention as people, think about Halloween and things that are maybe a little spooky.
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect place if you're feeling the Halloween vibe and you want to be outside. So anyone who is interested in doing that, what are some things they should know before they go?
So the park is open dawn to dusk daily, and in fact, the camp itself is closed after dusk. The people who live there and call it home and work there, they're picky about not having people there after dark, unless of course you're staying in the hotel or something. So just be out by dark. No bicycles or anything on the trails. It's just a place for walking and quiet reflection. They also specify, no vandalism, of course, and make sure not to, take anything with you or whatever. So leash pets are, however, allowed in the park.
Well, there you go. That sounds like something you want to do. Be on the lookout for Patrick's Florida Fresh Air feature coming out Friday. You can catch them every Friday for even more adventures, Florida gems that Patrick has been exploring. Patrick, thank you so much. All right, it's week 10 in Florida high school football. So I want to come over to JC now because we've got some Thursday games. JC, what games are we taking a look at today?
No matter what game it is, we have 12 of them on tap for Thursday night. I just hope that the weather cooperates a little bit because I'm a little worried about that. But aside from the weather issues, we do have some big games Thursday night, and one of them is going to be Lake Brantley playing at Apopka. You've got two teams that are unbeaten in their district. If Lake Brantley wins the game, which they haven't beaten Apopka a whole lot in recent years, but Lake Brantley can win the district outright and make the playoffs as a top 4 seed. Apopka would need a win and then a win again on Tuesday against Ocoee to go ahead and wrap up the district. But there's going to be a big celebration, big recognition happening at Apopka tonight as the 20-year anniversary of Apopka's 2001 football state championship team will be recognized and honored. You've got former head coach Rick Darlington. He now coaches high school football in the state of Alabama. He's coming back for the celebration as well. And that 2001 team, it was the first time that we've had an area state champion in a long time until that 2001 team. And so it's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big thing to get celebrated there. So it should be a good time. The other game tonight, on Thursday night, big rivalry. Number 14 ranked Timber Creek is hosting number 8 ranked Winter Park. It's a winner take all for the district championship. These two teams, year in and year out, it's always a battle. There's no love lost between these programs, and so that should be another key game for Thursday night.
Sounds like a pretty exciting matchup there, but we still have some more football because Friday night, of course, has some featured games. JC, which games are you following on Friday?
On Friday, the weather might be a little bit more cooperative, of course, I guess, compared to Thursday. We have some big games in Seminole County. Last week, Sanford Seminole, the defending state champions, they knocked off previously unbeaten Lake Mary to return to the number 1 rankings in my Super 16 and in the number 1 rankings in the state in Class 8A, which means that, it could really put them in good position for the postseason if things keep going their way. Seminole will be at home against DeLand. DeLand had a tough loss last week. It's going to be interesting to see how they get things turned around. The other matchup is going to be Lake Mary. Let's see how Lake Mary can rebound from the tough loss last week. Lake Mary's at home against Oviedo, so that should be another good one to watch as well. And you can follow all the coverage at sentinelvarsity.com. We've got you all covered, and looking forward to it.
Well, there you go. If you can't make it out, be on the lookout for JC's work. JC, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, before we go today, we do want to talk about Thursday's weather. As JC said, we've got some big weather coming in. Today's weather presented, of course, by Premier Sotheby's International Realty. Thursday's weather is a doozy as a cold front from the west pushes through Central Florida, providing severe weather developments lingering into the evening. Orlando will experience showers and strong gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour in the afternoon. Also, be on the lookout for weather warnings on our website as a tornado threat is possible throughout the day. After the showers, the evening's low will dip to 65 tonight. Friday and Saturday will also have temperatures in the 60s, with Halloween Sunday seeing temperatures dip into the high 50s, setting up the stage for very pleasant fall temperatures stretched throughout next week. You can find out more about that at orlandosentinel.com, where, of course, you can get caught up with all the stories that we talked about here on the show today as well, and all different kinds of events happening all around Central Florida. For those of you who subscribe to the Orlando Sentinel, thank you so much for continuing to support our work and supporting local journalism. If you want to become a supporter for this kind of work, it's easy to do so. All you need to do is visit orlandosentinel.com/subscribe. But as for OSN, that will do it for us today. A big thank you to Ryan, Patrick, and JC for keeping us filled in what's going on in our community. We'll be back again with more news tomorrow at noon. We'll see you then. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Watch Orlando's Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on orlandosentinel.com.